Hey guys, you might have been wondering where I've been for the past little while, and the answer is not lost in the forest. Trust me, I would never do anything that stupid. I'm certainly not lost in the forest, ignore the fact that I'm in the forest. Basically, I decided to give you guys a little bit of an explanation as to where I've been and also just kind of show you my face as a little fun little bonus. So yeah, this is what I look like. I'm sorry if I disappointed you, but just a little bit of an explanation as to where I've been for those of you who don't know. I used to work for a different employer. I recently swapped jobs and I've been focusing heavily on trying to be really good at that job so that way I can ensure that I can keep that job and also have a good career going forward. So that training's basically done. But as well as that, I have an announcement to tell you guys. Basically, I'm going to be starting another channel. This channel's not going to be going anywhere. If you are only here for gaming, good for you. It's still going to exist. I'm still going to try to upload videos and stuff like that. But for those of you who like when I make horror games, I have some more stuff for you, basically. Because if games aren't the only thing that contribute to your life, then you know just as well as I do. Oh, look, the rain's picking up. You know just as well as I do that there are some interesting things in the world that might be a little bit paranormal. And if that just made you excited, me saying paranormal, well, then you probably know what's coming next. I'm planning on starting a new channel with a friend of mine called Sean. And what we're going to be doing is ghost hunting. That channel will be in the description of this video, so if you want to go ahead and subscribe before we even get any videos on there, because you just like being so eager, we can certainly get that done for you. Because the channel already exists. It has existed for a while. It just doesn't have any content on it yet because we haven't been able to get anywhere to investigate stuff into yet. You picking up what I'm putting down? But I also kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of a story because, as you know, clearly I'm not just going to start a video that's like 3 minutes long of me being like, hey guys, I've been gone because I got a new job and also new channel, go subscribe. No, I'm also going to like give you guys something because I haven't been on for like 2-3 months, something like that. I don't know. You tell me. You don't need to. I'm going to figure it out. But basically, what it kind of looks like is I've been gone for a while, so I'm going to give you an explanation as to why I'm going to be starting this new channel for ghost hunting. Basically telling you a little bit of a story. Because stories are cool. Because we like stories. Because we're humans. We like stories. Basically, for a long period of time in my life, I've believed in ghosts. Just because there's been a lot of things in my life that has led me to having to believe in ghosts. I've had a lot of encounters in my life. I'm not going to try to persuade you into believing ghosts, by the way. And if you want to believe that I'm like schizophrenic or something, that's fine. To each their own. But throughout my life, I've had a lot of situations where I've had nothing better to believe than that there are ghosts or something else paranormal. So, basically, I don't know, people are showing up. I'm not a public speaker, I speak to cameras. Yeah, so basically, throughout my life, like growing up, I've had a few situations where it seems like I've been followed by something, harassed by something, you know, whatever you want to call it, possessed by something. It's been a very weird life, to put it lightly. But basically, to kind of look at it from this perspective, growing up, it seemed like I was being followed by something which popularly is referred to as like the red-eyed children or the black-eyed children. It's a little bit weird, but the way that it kind of interacted with me doesn't quite seem to follow the pop culture influences of it and how it's typically been depicted. So basically, to kind of get you a basis of what I've been, you know, paying attention to for a long period of time in my life, it seems like I was followed by two, like, demons or spirits or whatever you want to call them, cryptids, you know, whatever you believe in, whatever you choose to believe in. You know just about as much of this as I do as soon as I get through this story. But imagine, like, a boy and a girl, super pale skin, black hair, eyes devoid of existence, just like two voids here, or sometimes they would be red. But most of the time it was just completely devoid of anything. You couldn't really see anything there. Unless they were trying to do something, then it would turn red. But the thing about it is that they seemed to be dressed in like old, like Victorian era, like children's nice, like medium class clothing, like black with like white frills on it and stuff like that. Super, super basic posh bullshit, you know, rich. But the thing that was weird about it the whole time was the like how often they seemed to show up. It was a thing that used to harass me a lot, especially in my old house. So basically, I'm just going to start the story. You know what they look like. But for the longest time, whenever I was growing up, I seemed to be getting followed by these kids, and they would always be trying to persuade me to come outside and play. It was really strange. And the thing that was weird about it is that they would never be inside the house. They never wanted to move. I never saw them walk, really. They would always be outside of my window, just far enough away to where it's like if I walked that far, I knew my parents wouldn't probably be able to catch up. It was weird. And they would always be like whispering to me, trying to get me to come to them, but it was loud. It was weird. Like they'd be like sitting there, they'd be whispering or talking at the loudest, and they would just like be like, "Hey, we want you to come outside. We want you to play with us." And I would always say no. But like it was just weird because it would happen almost all the time. There was a point where it was happening every day. But the worst times it ever happened was whenever I stayed at my Nana's house, who lived in the middle of a forest. Yeah. You know, like one of these things? You ever seen this thing before? It's cool. It's a bunch of trees. But it's called a forest. And my Nana used to live in a house that was an in-ground house in the middle of the forest somewhere in Missouri. I don't quite remember where it was. I was like 8 or 6 or something like that. It's been a long time. I'm 21 now. And the thing that's weird about these kids is that they would harass me even there. And there, especially, they would really be trying to get me to come out there. And it was really weird. Because, like, whenever I was in that house, it wasn't like one of those things where it's like, oh, I could, like, go to a room with no windows or anything like that. Because this was an in-ground house, and you would think, oh, yeah, in-ground houses. They wouldn't have windows in every room, would they? Yeah, they're called skylights. They do, and they're actually worse than regular windows because it means that whatever person or thing you might be looking at is standing on the roof, which is somehow scarier than them just standing outside of your house. I don't get it, but they would basically peer through the skylight sometimes whenever I was staying there, sleeping, and they'd be like, "Hey, you should totally come outside and play with us. There's so much room to play. You should do that. Come play with us, like forever. Never go back." And it's like, no. One night I lost my shit. For some reason, I don't know what happened, but I snapped and I just started running out there. Started running at them. But luckily my Nana happened to wake up and because the house security system went off as soon as I opened up the front door, and she ran out there and like grabbed me before I actually went any further. And the weird part about that is whenever she grabbed me, basically it was kind of like I got jerked and my eyes shut as a result of it. And then whenever I opened my eyes, they were gone, but I could hear them still. They were laughing, and it was like super loud and booming. It was like shaking the forest, it felt like. But they were gone, and it was so weird and so bizarre, and I don't really know how to explain the way that it felt, but it like kind of changed a lot of the ways that I looked at things. And then for a long period of time, shortly after those kind of scenarios where like they were just peering out of the window telling me to come in and like laughing super loud, there was one final day where I seemed to have my interaction with them, and I haven't seen them since. And that was back in like 2019, 2020, 2021, something like that. I'm not quite certain. I'm a poor historian. You know, like dates-wise. I can remember days very well. I can't remember dates very well. But it was pretty much whenever I was moving out of my previous house. And whenever I was moving out of the house, it was such a weird feeling because it was almost like the house got angry. It got heavy. It got hot in the house. The house was making more noises than usual. It was bizarre. And the thing that was kind of upsetting about it was that at the very end of it all, when we just said, you know, this is it, we're done, we did everything that we can do to get all the stuff out of this house. It's pretty much just like the imperfections of the house that are what's left over. Me and my mom walked to the back of the house, and we turned the breaker off so we wouldn't have a bigger final electric bill. Really weird circumstances that we were in with this house. I could go into the logistics of it all, but no, I'm not gonna. But when we turned the breaker off, it got dense. It was like moving through jello. The air was so thick. And the weird thing about it was You guys saw something? I don't know. The weird thing about it was like as we were walking through, I could have swear I saw things crawling around us, like quadrupeds, dozens of them just walking around, cackling, making sounds and stuff like that. And my mom, she saw something too that was a little bit weird. But whenever we left out of the house, it was like the world was getting loud, and then I shut the door, silence. It was quieter outside of the house than it's ever been. There are dozens of birds out there. There are dozens of squirrels. There's owls. I've seen owls. They're so cool. But like, dead silence. Not a noise. Not a peep. You didn't hear leaves rustling. There was nothing out that night. It was weird. As soon as we shut the door, silence. And I don't really know how to describe it. But yeah, that's a tree. That's definitely a tree. Yeah, but it was such a weird experience. Basically, to kind of explain what my mom saw, whenever we were leaving out of the house, there was a room in that house that we walked past, and over the night, me, my mom, my girlfriend, my nana, and my aunt, I believe, all saw the blinds in that room, and they seemed to have been getting darker and darker over time. It was really strange. And then whenever we started to leave, my mom claimed that she saw red eyes starting to burn in like the silhouette that seemed to be forming in that in those blinds, which I kind of caught a glimpse of it. I didn't quite see it clearly. It was definitely a very weird situation. But not the weirdest thing that happened that night. Whenever we left and went back to the new house where we were bringing the last bit of stuff over, I saw one of them again for the first time in what was years. I didn't see the girl, which seemed to match the silhouette and the blinds the most. But what I did see was the boy, which always seemed to be the weaker of the two. He was shorter. He was seemingly the quieter of the two. He didn't really have much to say, but whenever we were driving home, I saw him in one of those retention ponds where, like, there's the road, it scoops in, and then it's property on the side of it. That's called a retention pond for those of you who don't know. It also has another name. I can't remember what it is. But I saw him running through it, but it looked like he was melting. And before he could even reach the road, like starting to approach where our new house was, he just dissolved and fell into the ground and got absorbed by the grass. It was such a weird thing to see. But ever since then, I haven't really had any interactions with him or anything like that. It was a really weird day. Don't really know how to describe it. And I've had a ton of stuff that's kind of happened like that in my life. It's a really weird story. There's tons of stuff like that. And if you guys want to hear more of the stories that I have related to that, then let me know. And I'll tell you some more stories. Whether it'll be on this channel or the old home channel, I don't know. But you can figure that out. Because I'll probably make that announcement at some point. But other than that, I think that's all I'm going to do because it's starting to rain a little bit heavier and it's starting to get a little bit colder and it's starting to feel a little weird. Though that could just be subconscious. But other than that, if that's all I'm going to say today, then I'm basically, here's the little sneak peek to the new channel. But other than that, bye.